Reading from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Anjalila, Chapter 10. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepts prasadam from his devotees. Text 81. Then Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took prasadam with all of them and then asked them to return to their dwellings and take rest. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu lay down at the door of the Kambira, and Govinda came there to massage his legs. It was a steady, long-standing rule that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would lie down to rest after lunch, and Govinda would come to massage his legs. Then Govinda would honor the remnants of food left by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This time, when the Lord lay down, he occupied the entire doorway. Govinda could not enter the room, and therefore he made the following request. Govinda said, "Kindly turn on one side, let me pass to enter the room." However, the Lord replied, "I don't have the strength to move my body." Govinda made his request again and again, but the Lord replied, "I cannot move my body." Govinda repeatedly requested, "I want to massage your legs," but the Lord said, "Do it or don't do it, it depends upon your mind." Then Govinda spread the Lord's wrapper on his body and in this way entered the room by crossing over the Lord. Govinda massaged the Lord's legs as usual. He pressed the Lord's waist and back very softly, and thus all the Lord's fatigue went away. As Govinda stroked his body, the Lord slept very nicely for about 45 minutes, and then his sleep broke. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saw Govinda sitting by his side, he was somewhat angry. "Why have you been sitting here for so long today?" the Lord asked. "Why did you go to take your meal after? Why didn't you go to take your meal after I fell asleep?" the Lord asked. Govinda replied, "You were lying down, blocking the door, and there was no way to go." The Lord asked, "How did you enter the room? Why didn't you go out to take your lunch in the same way?" Govinda mentally replied, "My duty is to serve, even if I have to commit offenses or go to hell. I would not mind committing hundreds and thousands of offenses for the service of the Lord, but I greatly fear committing even a glimpse of an offense for my own self." Thinking in this way, Govinda kept silent. He did not reply to the Lord's inquiry. It was Govinda's practice to go take lunch when the Lord was asleep. On that day, however, seeing the Lord's weariness, Govinda continued massaging his body. There was no way to go. How could he leave? When he thought of crossing over the Lord's body, he considered it a great offense. There are some of the finer points of etiquette in devotional service. Only one who has received the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu can understand these principles. The Lord is very interested in manifesting the exalted qualities of his devotees, and that is why he engineered this incident. Thus I have briefly described Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's dancing in the hall of the Jagannath temple. The servants of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sing about this dancing even now. Accompanied by his personal associates, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu washed and swept the Gundicha temple, cleansing it as usual. The Lord danced and chanted and then enjoyed a picnic in the garden as he had done before. As previously, he danced in front of the Jagannath car and observed the festival of Hera Panchami. All the devotees from Bengal stayed in Jagannath Puri for the 4th month of the rainy season and observed many other ceremonies, such as the anniversary of Lord Krishna's birth. Formerly, when all the devotees had arrived from Bengal, they all desired to give Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu something to eat. Each devotee would bring a certain type of prasadam. He would entrust it to Govinda and request him, "Please arrange that the Lord will surely eat this prasadam." Some brought paida, a coconut preparation, some brought sweet balls, and some brought cakes and sweet rice. The prasadam was of different varieties, all very costly. Govinda would present the prasadam and say to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, "This has been given by such and such a devotee." The Lord, however, would not actually eat it. He would simply say, "Keep it in storage." Govinda kept accumulating the food, and soon it filled a corner of the room. There was quite enough to feed at least 100 people. All the devotees asked Govinda with great eagerness, "Have you given Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu the prasadam I brought?" When the devotees questioned Govinda, he had to tell them lies. Therefore one day he spoke to the Lord in disappointment. Many respectable devotees, headed by Advaita Acharya, make a great endeavor to entrust me with varieties of food for you. You do not eat it, but they ask me again and again, "How long shall I go on cheating them? How shall I be freed from this responsibility?" Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu replied, "Why are you so foolishly unhappy? Bring here to me whatever they have given you." Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sat down to eat. Then Govinda offered him the preparations, one after another, and as he did so, he spoke the name of the person who had given each one. These preparations, paida, sweet rice, cakes made with cream, and also amrita kutika, manda, and a pot of camphor, have been given by Advaita Acharya. Next, there are varieties of food: cakes, cream, amrita manda, and padmachini, given by Srivas Pandit. All these are gifts of Acharya Ratna, and these varieties of gifts are from Aryanadi. And all these varieties of food have been given by Vasudev Datta, Murari Gupta, and Buddhimanta Khan. These are gifts given by Sriman Sena, Sriman Pandit, and Nandana Acharya. Please eat them all. Here are the preparations made by the inhabitants of Kulina Kram, and these have been made by the inhabitants of Kanda. In this way Govinda gave everyone's name as he put the food before the Lord. Being very satisfied, the Lord began to eat it all. The hard sweets made of coconut, mukuta, narikela, the sweet balls, the many kinds of sweet drinks, and all the other preparations were at least a month old. But although they were old, they had not become tasteless or stale. Indeed, they had all stayed fresh. That is the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Within a very short time, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ate enough for 100 people. Then he asked Govinda, "Is there anything more left?" Govinda replied, "Now there are only the bags of Raghava." The Lord said, "Let them remain today. I shall see them later." The next day, while taking his lunch in a secluded place, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu opened the bags of Raghava and inspected their contents one after another. He tasted a little of everything they contained and praised it all for its flavor and aroma. All the varieties of the remaining prasadam were kept to eat throughout the year. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ate his lunch, Swarup Damodar Goswami would serve it little by little. Sometimes Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would take some of it at night. The Lord certainly enjoys preparations made with faith and love by his devotees. Thus Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu spent the entire period of Chaturmasya, the 4 months of the rainy season, in the happiness of discussing topics of Krishna with his devotees. From time to time, Advaita Acharya and others would invite Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for home-cooked rice and varieties of vegetables. They offered pungent preparations made with black pepper, sweet and sour preparations, ginger, salty preparations, limes, milk, yogurt, cheese, 2 or 4 kinds of spinach, soup made with bitter lemon, eggplant mixed with nimba flowers and fried patola. They also offered pulapari, liquid mung dal, and many vegetables, all cooked according to the Lord's taste. They would mix these preparations with the remnants of food from Lord Jagannath. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted the invitations, he went sometimes alone and sometimes with his associates. Devotees like Acharya Ratna, Acharya Nidhi, Nandana Acharya, Raghava Pandit and Srivas were all of the Brahmana caste. They would extend invitations to the Lord. Vasudev Datta, Gadadhar Das, Murari Gupta, the inhabitants of Kulinagram and Kanda and many other devotees who were not Brahmanas by caste would purchase food offered to Lord Jagannath and then extend invitations to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Now here, about the invitation Shivananda Sen extended to the Lord. His eldest son was named Chaitanya Das. When Shivananda brought his son Chaitanya Das to be introduced to the Lord, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu inquired about his name. When the Lord heard that his name was Chaitanya Das, he said, "What kind of name have you given him? It is very difficult to understand." Shivananda Sen replied, "He has kept the name that appeared to me from within." Then he invited the Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for lunch. Shivananda Sen has brought very costly remnants of Lord Jagannath's food. He brought it in and offered it to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who sat down to accept the prasadam with his associates. Because of Shivananda Sen's glories, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ate all kinds of prasadam to honor his request. However, the Lord ate more than necessary and therefore his mind was dissatisfied. The next day, Chaitanya Das, the son of Shivananda Sen, extended an invitation to the Lord. He could understand the Lord's mind, however, and therefore he arranged for a different kind of food. He offered yogurt, limes, ginger, soft bada, and salt. Seeing all these arrangements, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very pleased. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, "This boy knows my mind. Therefore, I am very satisfied to accept his invitation." After saying this, the Lord ate the rice mixed with yogurt and offered Chaitanya Das the remnants of his food. The 4 months of Chaturmasya passed in this manner, with the Lord accepting invitations from his devotees. Because of a heavy schedule of invitations, however, some of the Vaishnavas could not get an open day on which to invite the Lord. Every month, Gadadhar Pandit and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya had fixed dates on which Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would accept their invitations. Gopinath Acharya, Jagadananda, Kashishvara, Bhagavan, Ramabhadra Acharya, Shankara, and Vakrishvara, who were all Brahmanas, extended invitations to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and offered him food cooked at home, whereas other devotees would pay 2 panas of small conch shells to purchase Jagannath's prasadam and then invite the Lord. At first, the cost of Jagannath prasadam for an invitation was 4 panas of conch shells, but when Ramachandra Puri was there, the price was cut in half. The devotees who came from Bengal stayed with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for 4 consecutive months, and then the Lord bade them farewell. After the Bengali devotees departed, the devotees who were the Lord's constant companions at Jagannath Puri stayed with the Lord. Thus I have described how Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted invitations and how he accepted and tasted the prasadam offered by his devotees. In the midst of that narration are descriptions of Raghava Pandit's bags of food and the dancing in the temple of Jagannath. One who hears about the pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with faith and love will certainly attain ecstatic love for the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu without fail. Narrations of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's activities are just like nectar to hear. Indeed, they satisfy both the ears and the mind. One who tastes the nectar of these activities is certainly very fortunate. Praying at the lotus feet of Sri Rupa and Sri Raghunath, always desiring their mercy, I Krishna Das narrate Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita following in their footsteps. We stop here and read further tomorrow. Jai Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Anjalila Chapter 2, 10. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepts prasadam from his devotees. Ki Jai. Next chapter is chapter 11, the passing of Haridas Thakur. Jai Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Ki Jai. Jai Srila Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Srila Gurudev. Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha.
Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha.
Yadavaya Nadavaya Keshavaya Namaha.
Yadavaya Nadavaya Keshavaya Namaha.
Gopa Govindaram Sri Madhusudana.
Gopa Govindaram Sri Madhusudana.
Giridhari Gopinath
Giridhari Gopinath Mohana.
Sri Sila Bhakti Nirmala Jaya Maharaj ki Jai Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Matsuya Jaya Vrinda ki Om Vishnupad Sila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj ki Jai Om Vishnupad Sila Bhakti Rakak Sita Dev Goswami Maharaj ki Jagannath Jai Bhagavan Sila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur ki Sri Rupanuga Gurvaka ki Namacharya Sila Haridas Thakur ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki Sapashada Sri Nityananda Prabhu ki Sapashada Simama Prabhu ki Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shyamakunda Radha Kunda Kiri Govardhana ki Tulasi Maharani ki Ganga Yamuni Chu ki Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki Sri Navadvip Dham ki Sri Mayapur Dham ki Sri Vrindavan Dham ki Sri Purushottama Dham ki Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Chu ki Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat ki, Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat West London Chapter ki, Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat East London Chapter ki, Samadveta Kora Bhakta Vrinda ki, Samadveta Vaishnava Mandala ki, Harinam Sankirtan ki, Nitai Gaur Premanande,